Hello, and welcome back to the third video in the Learning Objective-C primer series. In this video, we are going to be exploring the @property and @synthesize preprocessor macros. This entire video is going to be an extension, or based off of the code and the final state after the last video. I've went ahead and put a link to the site at the bottom of this video right now. And what you can do is actually go to the site and download this file, the Objective-C to carapp.zip file, and that contains the Xcode project that is the starting point for this video. So if you haven't done it already, go ahead and pause it, go download that, come back, and hit play once you're ready to go. So hopefully you've done that, and you are now looking at a screen that is similar to this. Go ahead and select the carapp.im file, and then you should have this appear underneath it. What we are going to be doing is taking a look at simple getter-setter pairs. So what I mean is right here, we've got in our interface, in our car object, we have a field called location. And we have two methods called setLocation and getLocation that are designed to allow us to interact with that location from within our program. And if you look down at our implementation section, you can see that the code that we have for those is very simple. SetLocation, all that it does is set the location instance variable equal to what it's passed, this where variable. And getLocation just returns what the location is. That's it. Very, very basic. Very simple to write, very quick, but you got to keep in mind what happens if you have 30 variables in an object, or excuse me, 30 instance variables in an object. It's possible. So it gets very tedious and very difficult to go through and continuously write all of these simple getter-setter pairs. So with Objective-C 2.0, what they did was they included a couple of preprocessor directives that actually will write this for you. So before I get into what that means, let's go ahead and go up here, and I'll show you how you can replace these two lines of code with a simple property directive, or preprocessor directive. That's it. So what we've done is we specified that we want to create a property, or we have a property of type int that we want to call location. Now, what a preprocessor directive does is it actually says when you go up and you hit this build and run button, I want you to go through and replace this with a certain amount of code, a certain piece of code. In our case, what it is that we're doing is we actually are going to go in and have the compiler generate this code right here. Just like that. Now, the problem that you've got to keep in mind with this is that you'll notice int location is different than what we had before. Previously, we had int get location. Now, typically what we're going to do is we're going to assume this behavior when we're writing properties and just move on with our lives. If we couldn't, however, we actually can tell property that we want it to have this part, the getter, be called get location. And the way that we do that is by passing property and attribute. So what we can do is we can actually go in here, we can type getter equals get location, we can compile, and everything will work. In fact, go on, build and run, runs. You can see that it says debugging of car app ended normally. And in fact, if we go to our console, we have the same output that we had from the last one. The new car is located at 2, the used car is located at 10. Now, what this has done is, as I said, just replace it with those two things. Now you'll notice that we haven't done anything with our implementation section yet, and obviously we need to, or we'd like to be able to. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can do that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, so I want to go back to the default behavior, scroll back down, and what we want to do is we want to get rid of this. Now, as I said, what the @property section does is it does the portion that goes in the interface. So it tells the compiler to expect that you have a getter named getLocation defined somewhere down here, and you have a setter named setLocation and a getter named location somewhere down here. But we want to go ahead and have the compiler automatically generate these as well. What we can do is we can then come down here and we can actually use the synthesize preprocessor directive. just like that. And by doing that, it will actually generate the code for us. So if I run it this time, it'll give me an error. And the reason being that it's no longer called getLocation, it's now called location. So we come back down to the NSLog files, and we're actually going to replace these with location. Alright, so now that we've made that change, we should be able to compile it, and Synthesize will actually build all of our code for us. And sure enough, you can see it completes or ends normally. And once again, we get the exact same output. So it went ahead and actually generated all of the code that we needed to handle this variable right here by using the synthesize preprocessor directive. Now, before we move on, there is one other thing that I want to go ahead and get at, which is you're typically going to see these two lines combined most of the time when you do coding in Objective-C. And the reason is if you take a look at it, you'll notice that we're setting new car equal to the results of this message. Obviously, this message has to be returning the pointer to new car. We're also setting new car equal to the result of this, but we're passing it this pointer to new car. So in effect, this line is being passed the output of this line. So we can combine it. The way that we do that is we simply go ahead and go like that. Go ahead and do that. And then add an extra split bracket up here. So, pretty simple. So let's go ahead and come down here and let's do the same thing to used car. And as I said, all that we've done is just combine them together, and this is the way that you're going to see it typically. Alright, now if you've been following along with the written instructions for this lesson, you'll notice that the homework actually says that you're supposed to create a new variable called wheels and set up a property and set up synthesize directives for it. We can go ahead and do that really quickly. All that we've got to do is come into the object, add the field, come down, add the property, and then synthesize it. And that's it. We're done. So hopefully you now understand a little bit about property and synthesize. In addition to the setter attribute for properties, there are many, many others. I have a table of these on the website in the text version of this lesson. I strongly recommend you go there and take a look at it now, and I'll see you in the next video.